Welcome to Nerdcultuur. Today we are discussing another S.S. Rajamouli film in Eega. And if I understand correctly, this was kind of his first massive success and the movie that got him to do Bahubali and Triple R after. But this is definitely a very different movie compared to those other two. Those other two are obviously epics with a very large scale. This is a much smaller movie and it's just focused on a couple of characters, and it also takes place in modern day where the other ones are just spread out throughout history. And the movie kind of starts off as a romantic comedy, and that was definitely not how this movie was pitched to me. After about 40-45 minutes we get to the point where we get to the actual fly part of this movie, because this movie was described to me as a fly taking revenge. So in the first part we meet Nani, who is our main character, and he gets murdered after a while because he falls in love with the wrong girl. And so obviously he's going to take revenge on the man that murdered him, and he's even going to work together with the girl he fell in love with. And because the premise of this movie is very silly and ridiculous, it kind of helps that the movie doesn't take itself too seriously either. Out of all the Rajamouli films I've seen so far, this one is definitely the funniest, and I think the actor that plays Nani also contributes a lot to that. In the first part of this movie, he's just desperately going after this girl and he just doesn't let up. After a while it almost feels like stalker behavior. Like in real life, if you don't get a response after 2 or 3 tries, you should probably just hang it up, you know? But this dude literally chased her for 2 years. And I do think that sends a little bit of a weird message to the viewers of this movie, and that's also a problem I have with the actual ending in this movie. But yeah, the actor who plays Nani just keeps popping up out of corners, just standing behind people, and every time that girl's not expecting it, he's just creepily staring at her. But he does have a very goofy smile on his face, so you do realize this guy is probably not a major threat. But obviously that changes once he actually gets into fly form, and I do have to say the special effects for the fly are a little bit outdated. In moments where you just see the fly itself and he's moving around environments with other people, I think it looks fine. But there are some moments where you kind of see the fly's perspective and he's just moving around like a miniature world, and you see the grass and the environment and it's all computer generated, and there you definitely feel like the special effects are not quite up to par. But I do think this movie gets very creative with all the ways this particular fly can kind of torture his enemy, his rival, because it would have been a little bit unsatisfying if he just like caused some accident and he would have died right away. They really do draw it out and make you experience all the different ways in which he gets trolled. And the actor who plays the villain is sometimes a little bit over the top, but I do think he worked for this movie. He was kind of a very entertaining villain, and every time he was just put in a bad situation you could kind of laugh at the things he's going through. And the girl who played Binta, the main girl in this movie, was also quite good. You definitely felt like there was a little bit of a believable relationship between her and Nani, and that's definitely saying something, because like I said, she literally ignored him for 2 years. She literally did not even respond once. So I do think that's a little bit of a weakness in this movie, that you're supposed to buy that they actually were in love all this time, and just at the moment she's ready to confess it, that's when the accident happens. That's when Nani gets murdered. So if they actually had been together for a little bit before he died, that would have been more impactful, because then you would have seen them be together and be happy and everything. And now it's not only weird that this girl literally ignored him for 2 years, it's even more weird when she starts to communicate with the fly and even around other people, and they're kind of looking at her like she's crazy. And obviously the villain is experiencing a similar thing, because he starts to get convinced this fly is after him, and everybody doesn't believe him, of course. So yeah, when you actually do get to the revenge part and you see the fly finally take him out, it's quite satisfying, and it's also in a very painful way. And earlier in the movie they kind of teased the confrontation with a bird, and I was already thinking that would make a good boss battle, and towards the end of the movie our fly does actually have to take on 2 different birds. But yeah, this is definitely Rajamouli's goofiest movie, but just for the premise itself I was already sold, and it definitely delivered for that kind of crazy weird premise. So now I'm also considering maybe checking out of some of Rajamouli's even older movies. Are those worth checking out, or have I seen now everything that's really a must see? So if it's not worth checking out his older movies, let me know what other Bollywood or Tollywood movies I should check out soon, and I hope to do another review for you guys very soon. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of Eega. It's been out for 10 years already, so I think most of you have probably already seen it. Thanks for watching my review anyway, and subscribe to this channel to keep up to date with everything going on in Nerdcultuur.